Is this video of a Lyft driver making $3,000 in 1 week fake?
And I'm almost done with the first week and I've made $2,799.
Before determining whether this YouTuber is lying, let's look at what other drivers are saying about his video. David says this is a lie, and Carol DIY follows up with the idea that this YouTuber shouldn't even be allowed to make videos. Many drivers believe it's cap, a slang term that means to lie or exaggerate. Yomender asks, what software did you use to edit these numbers? This creator never breaks down what it takes to make that kind of money, what they drive, or how much gas they use. Carol DIY follows up saying he probably works for Lyft. Fast forward to 2023, another YouTuber, The Amazing Hustler, called out the YouTuber saying,
let's be rational. Nobody's making $3,000 in a week. What I wish you would do, go on live, show your phone, don't show no images that can be photoshopped, show your phone, and let's see exactly what you do every single day.
With his claims of making $3,000 in 1 week being questioned by his viewers and publicly challenged to repeat the feat, will this YouTuber rise to the occasion? And the answer is, I already did.
Well, I'm gonna show Uber first because I had to do both Uber and Lyft to hit that 3K last week. It's not much for Uber.
Okay. Can't see clear. What is that number?
Focus in a second.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so 222.
23. Can't even say anything. $223.93.
All right.
And let me move around in the app just so that you guys know it's not like photoshopped or anything.
Okay. No, we believe that because I believe you because you're showing. You can kind of tell, so it's all good.
All right. So here's Lyft. I haven't worked today. Hold on, give it a second. There you go. So I'm gonna go in it.
Okay.
And this is last week.
It's still loading, so
yeah, that's fine. I'm okay with that. People know it's real.
Okay, so 20. Okay, so let's see. 2789 point. Well, look, you absolutely got me. I apologize. I'm sorry. You are the man.
Now that I've defended my honor and proved that I'm not lying to you guys, I want to show everyone what it actually takes to make $3,000 in 1 week. Before we begin, I would like to address a specific comment. Remember when Mark Cleveland said, this creator never breaks down what it takes to make this kind of money? Well, here's how much I spent making $3,000 in 1 week back in 2022. Comes in at $2,531 for a net hourly pay of $32 per hour, down from the gross pay of $38 per hour. That's an average expense ratio of $6 for every hour worked, with a profit of $32 for every hour worked. And here's an even more detailed video where I break my income, expenses, mileage, and taxes after making $7,000 in just 1 month. My true net was $4,857.61. There was just one major problem. Since I've made those videos, Lyft has made 3 drastic changes to how drivers are paid. Drivers used to have a rate card showing how much they made per mile and per minute. Lyft replaced the rate card with upfront pay. Upfront pay allowed drivers to see how much they'd be paid before taking a ride. Many drivers believe that upfront pay was just a pay cut in disguise. The second major change Lyft made to driver pay was that they started offering fewer streak bonuses in favor of more ride bonuses. I was able to double my income with streak bonuses from $30 to over $60 an hour. Here's a snippet from a video I made covering this strategy.
I've been driving for 5 hours and 46 minutes, and I'm at $220. That's some number between $40 and $50 per hour.
That strategy still helps to maximize your income. Still, I haven't been able to hit similar numbers because bonuses have been disappearing. If that wasn't bad enough, the third change to driver pay is Lyft's long-term plan to indirectly do away with surge pricing. Lyft wants to lower surge pricing by convincing more drivers to use Lyft instead of Uber. They plan to give passengers more consistent pricing to convince them to use Uber less. Here's a recording of the Lyft CEO saying it himself.
Prime time, also called surge pricing by Uber, is where you basically don't have enough driver supply, and so you have to price it high to incent more drivers out there. That's a bad form of price raising. It's a particularly bad form because riders hate it with a fiery passion. And so we're trying to, really get rid of it.
Despite all the efforts by Lyft to decrease driver pay, one substantial factor made my $3,000 in 1 week video obsolete. I made that video during COVID. During COVID, Charleston saw a huge influx in tourism because we were one of the few states that remained open without restrictions. In 2021, Charleston's tourism increased by 42%. Uber and Lyft drivers in Charleston decided to stay home instead. They relied on unemployment and the stimulus checks that the government was handing out like candy. With increased tourism and a decrease in Uber and Lyft drivers, making $3,000 in 1 week was pretty easy. The problem I had was that I was still new to rideshare at the time and I didn't know how important strategy was. I would just go online, drive, go offline. But now that I've been a rideshare driver for more than 2 years, I've immensely improved my strategy. Even though it's harder today to make the same amount of money from the COVID era, I'm still confident that I can make $3,000 in any given week using proper strategy and putting in some effort. Before I break down my best strategies for maximizing income, let's break down my income, expenses, mileage, and taxes. This is a spreadsheet that I created to track my rideshare business. First, we'll start by entering the sources. I used Lyft and Uber and I got some cash tips. On Monday, I made $471 driving 16 hours and 17 minutes. Once that information is put in, the spreadsheet automatically calculates how much I made per hour. To save time, we'll just list how much I made per day. Tuesday, I made $248. Wednesday, I made $396. Thursday, I made $466. Friday, I made $282. Saturday, I made $493. And Sunday, I made $433. I could have made even more money, but I paced myself based off of the $3,000 goal. The spreadsheet adds it all up for us. My total with Lyft is $2,792.92 with an online time of 81 hours and 44 minutes. This results in an hourly income of $34 an hour. After adding my Uber numbers, we get $3,073.73, a total of 87 hours and 42 minutes of online time, which works out to an hourly income of $35 an hour. While I did make over $200 in cash tips, I decided not to include that in my totals. I didn't want to be accused of lying. The only thing more important than how much money a rideshare driver makes is how much money they actually get to keep. For gas, I spent $206 plus an extra $41 that I missed while recording this video. My insurance costs $100 a month. I divided that by the number of days in August and then multiplied that by 7 days for a total of $27.58. Using the same concept, we can also add my car payment, which totaled $53.25 for the week. But for tires and oil, we have to do things a little differently. With this gig tracker spreadsheet, you normally only put your actual expenses on this. So if you went a month without getting new tires or an oil change, you wouldn't add it to this list. But I know that I would be skinned alive in the comments if I didn't include these expenses. We must first figure out how many miles I drove to calculate how much wear and tear I put on my tires. The spreadsheet has a mileage tracker that works by putting in your mileage from your odometer when you start your shift and then again when you end your shift. Since I didn't have this spreadsheet when I did this challenge, I will retroactively fill it out starting from 0. I use Google Maps to actively track my mileage as a backup. Check out all the places I've been since I turned this feature on. We can also narrow it down to where I was during the $3,000 week. Here's day 1. Sometimes long rides are worth it. I drove a total of 3,280 miles. Now that we have that number, let's find out how much I would have to set aside for new tires. The last time I got 2 new tires, I paid $262. Multiplying that by 2 will cost us $525 for 4 new tires. Next, we need to figure out how much that costs per mile by taking the cost of the tires and dividing it by how often we plan to get new tires. That works out to less than 0.17 cents per mile, less than 2 pennies. To get the total cost for the week, we multiply 1.7 cents by the number of miles driven, which is 3,280 cents for a total of $57.49. For oil, we can use the same exact math. The total for oil is $52.48 for the week. That brings our total expenses to $392. That's an expense ratio of just 12 cents per mile, With income and expenses out of the way, it's time to focus on how much we'd have to spend on taxes. But before we cover taxes, there are 3 things I forgot to tell you. 1, I made an extra $25 using the Play Octopus tablet. It's a tablet that you can get for free that drunk passengers absolutely love to play with. I'm not sponsored by them, but they have an affiliate program you can use too. I'll have it linked below. You should get it, it's free. 2, I get 7% cash back as a platinum driver. I'm going to add that to my income sources as well. 3, if you want to get this spreadsheet that I made, you can support me on Patreon for access. Patreon is a membership platform that allows creators to build a community and earn recurring income from their supporters. Think of this spreadsheet as a gift to you for being my supporter. I will also offer exclusive membership perks like budget reviews and rideshare audits, depending on your support plan. If you want to sign up and only support me for 1 month just to download the spreadsheet, that's okay. But if you want to support me continuously because you find my information valuable, you'll always have access to the spreadsheet even when I update and improve it. Thank you for your support. Let's find out how much in taxes I'd have to pay after making $3,000 using Uber and Lyft. Let's start with deductions. To calculate deductions, we multiply the total amount of miles driven by the standard mileage deduction. The standard mileage deduction for 2023 is 65.5 cents per mile. That gives us a total deduction of $2,048.40. Deductions work by lowering your taxable income. Even though we made over $3,000, the government will allow us to subtract the tax write-off of $2,148 from the total. That gives us a taxable income of $964.78. It's important to highlight that while the government thinks I spend over $2,000 to make $3,000, my actual expenses are less than $400. The bigger the difference between what the government thinks you spent and what you actually spent, the more tax-free dollars rideshare drivers will make. If it wasn't for this tax write-off, it wouldn't be worth being a rideshare driver. And some government bodies are talking about changing how rideshare drivers are seen because they're starting to understand how much taxes they're missing out on us.
President Biden has proposed a new rule that will make it more likely for millions of gig economy workers to be classified as employees.
But now that we know our taxable income, let's assume we have a tax rate of 25%. While that's the average for most rideshare drivers, my tax percent ended up being 11% just because of how taxes scale where I live. But most rideshare drivers are going to be 25%. That would give us a tax bill of $241.20. We can finally figure out how much money I can keep after taxes and expenses. To calculate our true net, we take our total and subtract the expenses and the taxes. Out of the $3,113 I made, I get to keep $2,479. That works out to $28 an hour with a total expense and taxes ratio of $7 per hour. Before I share all of these money-making strategies I use to hit this $3,000 goal, let's compare whether it's better to be a rideshare driver or an employee. Assuming that the employee and the rideshare driver both gross the same amount of money and had the same tax rate, the employee would have to pay $778 in taxes since employees don't get the same tax write-off as independent contractors. That brings their net income down to $2,334. That's $144 less than a rideshare driver would have made after taking his expenses and taxes out. And being a rideshare driver gives you way more freedom than being an employee. But this only favors rideshare drivers if they keep their actual expenses as low as possible, which means not buying a Tesla. But despite how difficult it's been to make the same amount of money as before, these 5 strategies and tools have made it easier for me to still make money. The first tool that helped me make almost $500 on Monday is called Sketty. Sketty is an app that automatically matches you with rides. You can set the ride criteria, but I mostly use it for long rides. Long rides have a time and a place, and the best way to know if a long ride is worth it is by using the second strategy, called knowing your market. As a rideshare driver, I know it sounds cliche, but knowing your market is essential for maximizing your earnings and minimizing downtime. By understanding the nuance of local market, you can make informed decisions about when, where, and how to drive. Unfortunately, many drivers think that their market is the problem, and I bet you'll find those people in the comments below. In order to prove them wrong, I use a tool called Solo, which will tell how much money other drivers are making in your specific market. Here's a look at the top drivers in all cities. You can even search for your own specific city. If drivers in your city are making more money than you are, then your market isn't the problem. You are the problem, and the sooner you accept that, the sooner you can go and make more money. The third strategy that helped me hit the $3,000 goal is knowing when bonus zones will appear. An easy way that beginners can guess when useful bonus zones will appear is by paying attention to scheduled rides. If many rides are scheduled for the same time in the same area, it will likely result in a bonus zone. If you also pay attention to events in your city, it can help you double your income with my fifth tip. Tip number 4 that helped me hit my $3,000 goal was to do a bunch of short rides. I constantly see opinions from rideshare drivers hating on short rides, but there's a time and place for every strategy. I can make almost $500 in one day, and look at all these short rides that helped. There were no bonuses. There was just a lot of short rides, and they tipped pretty well considering how much they paid for their ride. Short rides take more effort. There's more people in and out of your car, slamming your door. There's more butts on your seat, but they result in a lower cost of gas and put less mileage on your car. The fifth and final strategy that really helped me deserves its own video. It will double your income when used correctly, and I give a real-time example of how to use it in this video. Make sure you check it out.